Hey guys, hope you're well and welcome back to Apex Minds, and today we'll be talking about momentary memory relapse, when you just forget what you were going to say mid-conversation. You might be in a presentation and have some really important steps to stick to, but one slipped your brain. Now, today we're going to show you how to overcome this and how to become an Apex Mind.
Upgrade.
So, tip one. Actually, before I even get into the tip, have you prepared? Because if you haven't prepared and you haven't done any rehearsals of your pitch, you are going to forget it anyway because you don't remember it yet. So before you even go through all of these tips, go back and practice, because practice makes perfect. The age-old saying says it, and we must agree, because if you haven't practiced, you are destined for failure. I'm sorry, but you just don't remember it yet, so you're not going to succeed. Once you've practiced it at least 50 times, yes, 50, don't look so gobsmacked, you need to practice, otherwise you're never going to be perfect. Once you've practiced it 50 times, let's go through the top 3 methods that are going to help you keep this information in your brain and make it really easy to recall information in an instant. Tip 1, repeat what you've said. Now, I know this sounds silly, but it just buys you an extra couple of seconds for your brain to recall that information. So you can say something in a slightly different manner so the audience isn't aware, they just think you're putting emphasis on the subject. So for example, imagine I'm in a presentation. So one of the main reasons that I push people to communicate effectively is so that they can negotiate with anybody. Imagine improving your communication skills and being able to negotiate with anybody. See, all it takes is to slow it down, put a bit of voice fluctuation in, and really put emphasis on your point. And this will give the audience a real structured feel, but it will give you the opportunity to recall that information in your head and jump on to the next point. Now, this next tip is a given. Don't use a script. Don't sit there and write down every single word that you need to say. You might do this on the first draft, but when you are practicing, you need to be practicing from bullet points, okay? Because bullet points are easy, quick to remember, and you can rearrange them if needed and use that information in any way you want. So even for Q&As, if you've got bullet pointed notes, you can answer Q&As so much more efficiently because you know the information to each bullet point, and your brain will recall this information when somebody mentions one of those points. Another tip is just to move your presentation around. So say you're at step 1, you've got step 2 and step 3 to show someone. So you start off and you say, hey, this is the product. I think this is going to be great for your business. It does so much to help, and we've proven it in the past at companies X, Y, and Z. Now, what we want to do with this product, well, actually, before I show you what we want to do with this product, let me show you where this product can take you so you can actually feel the process more. You'll be able to see where your company can fit in once I explain step 2 to you. You see what I did there? That was completely off the cuff. I just moved the points around, told them it was beneficial to you. And sometimes people will think, oh, that's spontaneous, that's different. And if they've seen you do any presentations before, they'll be shocked when they see you pull this off. But it's just a great way, again, to buy yourself that extra time to recall the information. And then once you start to explain the information in step 3, your brain will trigger the release of information for step 2, allowing you to go back and smoothly finish off your presentation. So here's another great one to give your brain that time to recall the information. Imagine you're on point A, you've lost point B, your brain's gone blank. What do? Chuck it out to the floor. Let's do a Q&A about point A. I want to know what you think and where you think point A could get you before I take you to point B. I want to know your understanding so I can help you further with point B. Now, once you've got the audience's attention, also you would have built up more attention from the people that have drifted off during your presentation. You can ask them all of these questions while in the back of your brain it's thinking of point B, allowing you to stay smooth and get back on track once the Q&A session is over. And you never know, this spontaneity in your presentation just might give it that extra kick as well. So use your Q&As to your advantage. They don't always need to be at the end. Right, so another great tip is don't be afraid to read your notes. bullet pointed notes, because you'll never find where you are if you've got a script in front of you. But if you have a little podium with your bullet points on and you forget something coming up, don't be hesitant just to walk over casually, quick glance at the notes and carry on. A lot of big presenters do this, but you need to remember, the more you do this, the less professional you look. So if I was you, once, twice, maximum, make sure that your notes are bullet pointed, as we spoke about earlier. This just makes it a lot easier to track where you are in those milliseconds of glancing at the paper. So if you are looking to take notes in with you, one piece of paper, that's all you need, right? I don't want to see someone coming in with 50 different sheets and scattered around trying to find where they are. It doesn't work like that. Bring one piece of paper, bullet pointed notes. Make sure you have rehearsed and prepared as much as humanly possible, because remember, you won't remember if you haven't tried to remember. It seems ridiculous to have to repeat this point, but the amount of clients I have that say to me, I just can't get this bit right. Every time I'm on stage, I stutter here. And I say, how many times have you practiced that bit? Oh, before the presentation. I read over it. I read over it 3 times before my presentation. The brain doesn't work with this instant memory. You need to be practicing this presentation daily, weeks before the presentation. If you don't have weeks, fine, but make sure you're at least preparing days in advance. A couple of hours here, a couple of hours there. Not a big block of sitting there for 3 hours thinking you're going to remember everything you've just read, because that's just not how the brain works. The brain needs time to absorb information, especially if it wants to recall it at a moment of frantic panic. So if you have forgotten something, you cannot expect your brain to scan back that 4 hours that you read that script through the day before. No, it wants simple bullet points. It will remember, oh, I was in the library on Thursday writing about this subject. Oh, I was at home on my couch when I was writing about this subject. It doesn't go, oh, I've read that whole book in one go and now I can memorize the whole thing word for word and I'm gonna go on stage and present it. No, that's not how the brain works. It would be great if it did, but I think a lot of us would be out of work, so thankfully not. But just don't be scared to be normal, be a human, and glance at your notes once or twice, because some audience will actually open to that and feel more connected to you. They'll see you more humane if you don't sit there with this robotic script that you're firing out. Sometimes you need to have a look at your notes. Don't let it break you, just do it and carry on with confidence. So these tips have really helped me to recall information, because there is nothing more embarrassing than standing on that stage and forgetting what you've said, and especially when you tell them you've forgotten it. That's a no-no, you should know that by now, but never ever admit when you've forgotten your pitch, because you look like an amateur and people will remember that. If you just stop, give yourself that 5 seconds as a pause, no one will remember. But if you say, oh, sorry, I'm so nervous, I've just forgotten, I haven't prepared, they're going to remember you as a failure for the rest of your time. So please guys, make sure you stay focused, make sure you stay on top of these memory recalls, because when it comes to presentations, you can either be the best or you can be remembered for being the worst. So it's up to you. I want to see you succeed, so please try and put this into action and become a presentation master. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, please give it a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
You're still only human.